How strong is that?
You can walk on
It's
this
very
thing.
weak.
You can walk on it?
Yeah. It's very strong. It's like, so if you've got some valuable cargo in the
Once hailed as the indestructible future of trucks, the Cybertruck is now facing a much different reality. In just over a year, it has been hit with 8 recalls and is under investigation involving thousands of vehicles. What was once Tesla's most hyped machine is now revealing deep-rooted issues that had gone unnoticed or unspoken until now. Beneath its angular, steel-plated exterior lies a structural flaw so widespread that it's raising serious concerns. The space it occupies is actually smaller than America's best-selling truck, the F-150, yet Tesla insisted there were no compromises in width, height, or length. Even mainstream media figures like Fox News' Jesse Waters have begun sounding alarms, questioning how a supposedly bulletproof vehicle could fall apart so easily. He called it one of the most embarrassing product failures in recent memory. With new investigations and internal leaks surfacing, the truth is beginning to emerge. What experts have discovered in nearly every Cybertruck is worse than expected. Wrapped in stainless steel and shaped like a war machine, it was marketed as a revolutionary leap forward, immune to the flaws of traditional vehicles. With its angular frame and brushed steel body, the Cybertruck wasn't just another truck, it was a bold proclamation. But now, that statement is literally cracking. Designed to look like something out of a dystopian film, the Cybertruck was Tesla's vision of a rugged, electric future. Bulletproof, unpainted, and unlike anything else on the road, it rejected the glossy curves of modern trucks in favor of brutalist, sci-fi aesthetics. When Elon Musk revealed the Cybertruck in 2019, the world took notice. It wasn't just a product launch, it was a cultural moment. Musk claimed it could survive a sledgehammer hit, deflect bullets, and outhaul every truck on the market. Pre-orders surged into the hundreds of thousands. People who had never considered an electric truck were suddenly eager to own one. Musk described it as a love-it-or-hate-it design, but the more powerful message was about strength, raw, uncompromising strength. The Cybertruck wasn't just a vehicle, it was a fortress, a disruption, a symbol of power and independence. Its specs were almost unbelievable: ultra-hard 30x cold-rolled stainless steel, armored glass, a 14,000-pound towing capacity, and the promise of zero compromise. It was supposed to be the final word in durability. But as production models reached customers, the reality began to erode the myth. At first, the flaws seemed minor: subtle hairline fractures, warped panels, and factory misalignments. But soon it became clear these weren't isolated incidents. Nearly every Cybertruck showed signs of underlying issues. What emerged beneath the surface was deeply troubling. By early 2025, the vehicle had only been on the road for 15 months, yet it had already faced 8 separate recalls. What started as a revolutionary design was now under intense scrutiny. Tesla had built its reputation on rapid innovation, from electric sedans to this futuristic truck, but even the most ambitious breakthroughs come with risks. The technical problems weren't just surface level. They included things like faulty inverters and accelerator pedals that could become trapped in floor mats, issues that questioned Tesla's long-touted manufacturing excellence. Tesla initially responded to these problems quickly, issuing fixes in line with standard corporate procedure. But the sheer volume of recalls pointed to something deeper, possibly a design flaw that no one had anticipated. The most serious of these recalls came in May 2025, and it could haunt the Cybertruck's image for years to come. This recall affected 46,096 Cybertrucks, all built between November 13, 2023, and February 27, 2025. The scale of the issue was massive, but the implications were worse. For the first time, a recall wasn't about minor electronics or cosmetic missteps. This was about a fundamental structural problem. A metallic panel, located beside the windshield and meant to be part of the vehicle's structural support, was detaching during highway driving. It wasn't just decorative, it helped hold the roof together. And it was coming off. The idea that a vehicle built to be bulletproof could fail to keep its panels intact at high speeds was shocking. Early adopters felt betrayed. Tesla's reputation for building rugged, durable cars took a serious hit. How could a truck marketed as unbreakable fall short on something as essential as structural integrity? The impact of the recall rippled across the automotive industry. The Cybertruck was supposed to be the future of transportation, but its flaws suggested otherwise. Investors, tech fans, and everyday customers had all bought into the dream. Now, they were left wondering if that dream had ever been grounded in reality, or if it was just another one of Musk's ambitious fantasies. This wasn't just a matter of fixing a defect, it was about protecting Tesla's reputation, the credibility of its manufacturing, and the future of electric trucks.
This will protect your cargo and secure it against being.
The incident raised critical questions. Could the company bounce back from such a massive oversight? Would the Cybertruck ever match the bold image Tesla had worked so hard to create? Or was it destined to serve as another example of lofty promises falling short? Ultimately, the recall wasn't only about the truck. It symbolized the fragile balance between innovation and failure that both Elon Musk and Tesla continually walk. As more problems surfaced, the vision of the Cybertruck began to feel less like a promise of tomorrow and more like a cautionary tale, proof of what happens when ambition collides with the hard limits of engineering. At the heart of the Cybertruck's flaw was a seemingly minor but essential part, the K-rail assembly. Running along both sides of the windshield, it was designed to anchor the truck's structural integrity, linking the roof to the front frame. Tesla's engineers, aiming for a futuristic build, used a specialized structural adhesive to secure it. This adhesive was hailed as a breakthrough, engineered to endure harsh weather, vibrations, and everything the Cybertruck was built to face. The Cybertruck, marketed as a rugged, cutting-edge vehicle for the modern driver, relied heavily on this adhesive. But in real-world conditions, it failed. Tesla misjudged its durability. Exposure to fluctuating temperatures caused the glue to deteriorate. The constant vibration from the vehicle's powerful engine and the everyday stress of driving weakened the bond. Eventually, moisture penetrated the joints. The outcome was disastrous. Panels didn't just crack, they fell off entirely. According to a report from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, this wasn't just about one faulty part. It reflected a deeper failure, a broken promise to a public eager for cutting-edge technology. The Cybertruck wasn't just another vehicle, it was supposed to be a symbol of innovation. Instead, it was falling apart in full view. The NHTSA report sparked widespread concern, but it was the public's reaction that made headlines. As initial cases of panel detachment appeared, they went viral online. What started as isolated incidents exploded into social media storms. Outrage spread quickly as ordinary drivers posted videos of themselves peeling off Cybertruck panels with bare hands, no tools, no force, just a light tug. It looked as if the panels were barely attached. These videos flooded TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Both influencers and regular users shared clips, often mocking the Cybertruck's quality. The once revered Tesla name was now being ridiculed across the internet. People who had once proudly pre-ordered the vehicle were now asking how a truck branded as nearly indestructible could fall apart so easily. The backlash was fueled not only by shock but also by a deep sense of betrayal. The situation worsened when experts and teardown analysts began to inspect the truck. What they discovered was more alarming than anyone expected. The adhesive had not been applied evenly. Some sections had strong bonds, others were clearly insufficient. In areas with even small amounts of moisture or road salt, corrosion had begun. This wasn't a one-time error, it was a fundamental design flaw. Tesla responded quietly, issuing software updates and making behind-the-scenes adjustments. Reports of panel detachment began to decline. But the damage to Tesla's credibility was already done. The core issue wasn't just physical, it was about lost trust. If the Cybertruck's structure couldn't be trusted, what did that say about the rest of its high-tech features? Despite its bold design and futuristic appeal, the Cybertruck was exposed as structurally fragile. Its failure became symbolic, a house of cards marketed as a fortress.
Functionality I'm going to describe is within a space that is less than the most popular pickup truck in the United States.
The aftermath of the Cybertruck's failures extended beyond engineering. It sparked a social backlash. Tesla's once loyal fan base grew disillusioned. Showrooms that had once drawn crowds were now defaced with angry graffiti. The response was intense and, in some places, violent. In cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Denver, the damage was intentional. Tesla's signature design became the target of public fury. In Colorado, a woman was arrested for throwing Molotov cocktails at a Tesla lot, igniting several vehicles. Across storefronts and charging stations, graffiti scrawled a damning message, "Nazi cars and steel lies." The sight of charred Tesla vehicles, once celebrated as icons of innovation, now stood as grim remnants of failure, their burned shells reflecting the downfall of a brand that had worked tirelessly to earn its prestige. This wasn't simply a design flaw, it was a breach of trust. Consumers believed they had bought into a transformative vision only to find it was little more than an illusion. The fallout from Tesla's missteps wasn't limited to financial loss, it struck a deeply personal chord. People who once stood behind the company's mission for a sustainable, revolutionary future now felt misled. Grandiose marketing and promises of near-indestructible vehicles had collapsed dramatically. What was once hailed as bold progress now appeared to be a dangerous risk with lives hanging in the balance. This led to a nationwide debate on safety. Media outlets didn't just scrutinize the structural soundness of the Cybertruck, they began to challenge the ethics behind its rushed rollout. Public confidence had eroded, and no amount of marketing spin could mend it. Tesla's once devoted supporters, the very individuals who helped elevate Elon Musk to near-mythical status, now felt abandoned. Even as protests mounted and public outrage grew, Tesla's executives stayed firm. Musk, seemingly unbothered by the backlash, continued pushing ahead. Cybertruck deliveries went on, with the company insisting improvements were in progress, though few evident changes were made. Though Tesla's stock dipped, investors generally held their ground, still trusting Musk to navigate through the turbulence. But as public anger escalated, Tesla had to face the hard truth: trust had been broken, and rebuilding it would be a long, grueling path. The damage extended beyond finances, it was a blow to the company's reputation. As the controversy deepened, one question loomed large: could Tesla survive the consequences of its own hubris? Internal issues, previously hidden, were coming to light, and what began as a single manufacturing flaw with the K-rail assembly evolved into a sweeping investigation revealing deeper systemic flaws. Regulators and independent inspectors broadened their investigations beyond the initial problem, uncovering far more serious concerns. Critical welds that ensured structural integrity varied drastically across different units. The intricate, angular structure of the Cybertruck demanded manufacturing precision that Tesla's production line seemed unable to deliver. In some instances, welds were rushed, leaving visible stress marks or gaping flaws. The Cybertruck's militaristic, edgy design required unparalleled assembly standards, but those standards were not being met. Further probing revealed faults in the vehicle's wiring systems. Some wires were loosely fastened, while others crossed over areas where they could wear against metal, risking electrical failures. The lack of consistency in the production process became increasingly clear. Tesla had evidently compromised on quality, and even long-standing loyalists began to question the company's dedication to excellence. One of the most unsettling findings involved torque values on crucial components. In many cases, torque measurements were significantly off, creating misalignments in critical stress points and placing undue pressure on the joints meant to keep the vehicle intact. Even Cybertrucks that had been proudly displayed in Tesla showrooms just days prior showed inconsistent panel gaps. It became clear that no two Cybertrucks were built the same. What might have initially appeared as sporadic quality control issues now revealed a disturbing truth: the assembly process wasn't streamlined, it was improvised, frantic, and riddled with shortcuts. The dream of a finely engineered, futuristic vehicle was unraveling. The very design that once made the Cybertruck a standout, a symbol of bold engineering, was now a logistical disaster. Its sharp, industrial lines called for extreme precision in assembly, yet what Tesla delivered fell far short. Beneath its striking exterior, the Cybertruck's greatest weakness wasn't in its power or appearance, but in the fragile and poorly executed foundation it stood on.
Design change, we moved the mass to the outside. We created an exoskeleton. So normally the way that a truck is...
Financial collapse soon followed. Tesla's stock, once the golden child of Wall Street, began a downward trend. What started as a subtle decline soon turned into a steep plunge as investors finally woke up to the scale of oversight and error. Analysts who once praised Tesla's trajectory began revising their outlooks. Financial news sources that once lauded Musk's achievements and the company's innovations now published stories of instability and uncertainty. By the end of the second quarter of 2025, Tesla's market value had dropped a staggering 42%. Both major investors and everyday shareholders began pulling out, fleeing the company like passengers abandoning a sinking ship. Consumers, too, started questioning Tesla's strategy, its leadership, and the ambitious promises that had seemed so certain just months earlier. The Cybertruck, once the crown jewel of Tesla's future, had turned into a burden, dragging the company down. But this wasn't merely a story of a stock dip or market volatility. It was about lost credibility. This was a collapse of public trust in a brand once considered the pinnacle of innovation. The confidence Tesla had cultivated over years, with bold declarations, daring designs, and visionary goals, was unraveling with shocking speed. The impact reached far beyond stock prices and quarterly earnings. It became a public reckoning, one that would echo throughout the automotive world and beyond. Yet, even amid the growing scrutiny, the most devastating revelation had yet to surface. Tesla's reputation, its very foundation, stood on the edge of collapse. Beneath layers of PR spin and hopeful messaging, a disturbing truth remained hidden. This wasn't about a few defective parts or a rare mishap. What investigators eventually uncovered pointed to deep, systemic issues within the entire production process, exposing the full extent of the company's internal failures. It all began with internal documents. Then, a whistleblower stepped forward. Investigators had spent months assembling the puzzle of Tesla's Cybertruck problems. What they uncovered in the final stages went beyond another lapse in quality control. It was the smoking gun. A leaked engineering memo labeled "Internal Use Only" showed that Tesla's leadership had been warned about conrail adhesive problems months before the first recall. Dated late 2023, the document outlined how engineers raised concerns over inconsistent curing conditions, poor application techniques, and a lack of proper validation for bonding strength at scale. The most alarming detail was this: the internal note acknowledged that if the issue remained unresolved, it could undermine the structural integrity of the cabin during rollovers or high-impact crashes. In simple terms, Tesla was aware that the conrail flaw was structural, not superficial, and still proceeded to deliver the trucks. This wasn't the first sign of underlying trouble. Other leaked internal documents, obtained by Germany's Handelsblatt and Wired, revealed that as late as January 2022, Tesla continued to face serious problems with its pre-production Alpha Cybertruck prototypes. The list of issues included weak suspension, poor body sealing, braking irregularities, excessive noise, and unstable handling. These documents revealed a troubling reality: the Cybertruck was far from ready for production, despite marketing suggesting otherwise. The structural flaws weren't isolated mistakes or supplier errors. They were embedded in the vehicle's very design and manufacturing process. Inspection showed nearly 95% of Cybertrucks had improper conrail bonding. What should have been a controlled and precise process had instead been rushed and improvised to meet tight deadlines. The consequences were not theoretical. Independent crash simulation showed that the weakened bonding could lead to failures in the roof and windshield during rollovers or side impacts. The much-hyped exoskeleton, touted as bulletproof, suddenly appeared dangerously fragile. Once the findings were made public, the backlash came swiftly.
The functionality I'm going to describe is within a space that is less than the most popular pickup truck in the United States, the F-150. So we didn't cheat in either width, height, or length.
Viral social media posts showed panels falling off and frames crumbling. Influencers, teardown experts, and former Tesla engineers joined the growing wave of criticism. News outlets worldwide questioned how such a high-profile vehicle could launch with such a critical flaw. In response, Tesla CEO Elon Musk addressed the concerns during a Fox News interview with Sean Hannity. He acknowledged the recalls but defended Tesla's track record. Musk reaffirmed the company's dedication to solving the issues and stressed their commitment to customer safety and satisfaction. But for many, the trust had already been broken. The Cybertruck, once hailed as a revolutionary step into the future, had become a symbol of overpromising and underdelivering. Fixing the truck was no longer just a technical challenge, it had become a test of Tesla's credibility. This was the breaking point, the moment the myth unraveled. When the polished steel facade fell away, what remained was not a glimpse of the future, but a factory scrambling to match its lofty ambitions. If Tesla, a pioneer of innovation, could overlook such fundamental flaws, it begged a troubling question: what else might be hiding in plain sight?